Hey there guys, we're back again. Last week we released 5 Kickstarters that ran away with your money, and this week we're back again with another 5 Kickstarters that ran away with your money. You know the drill by now, games like Mighty No. 9 just don't belong on this list, because as bad as the game is, it actually did come out. All of the projects talked about in this and the last video just never got released. If you haven't seen the last video, click the link at the top of the description. But hey, you know the drill. Let's look at another 5 reasons why you should never pledge more than you're willing to lose. Welcome to Slope's Game Room. Number 1. Neil Stevenson made this entry nice and easy for me, because unlike other entries on this list, Neil did in fact update his backers with what exactly went wrong. Originally a bestseller, science fiction author and self-confessed swordsmanship geek, Neil decided to create the huge Kickstarter that was Clang, asking for $500,000 and beating it by reaching $526,125 by 9,023 backers. The game was going to not only create the most realistic fighting game going, but to also create a game engine that will help other creators do the same. So, how the hell did the guy manage to not make the game with over 500,000, let alone the PayPal donations behind him? Well, as you no doubt expect, trying to create a whole new style of game and its engine is no small feat. 500,000 was just not enough, and after funding the whole team, a demo was released to backers which, although technically impressive for its time, was horrifyingly boring. Not long after, Neil paused development of Clang, and after not being successful to get money from outside backers to continue the project, claimed that Clang was already intended to just be a mere demo, or as he puts it, a prototype. I'm not too sure about that one, Neil.
Don't worry, we're going to make a game. Don't worry, we're going to make a game. It's taken us a few years of sparring and experimenting and scratching our heads over this thing to get it to the point where it's ready to hire the talent that we need to produce a simple, playable game. Don't worry, we're going to make a game, but we're going to go about it in such a way that other people can use our tools to improve on what we've done.
In all fairness, compared to other entries on this list, physical rewards such as t-shirts did actually get shipped, so I suppose that's something. However, 1 year later, after putting progress on hold on September 18th, 2014, backers got the final update. Neil explained that yes, obviously this was the end of the project, but also that he felt that the fault did in fact lie with him. He claimed that the game had too much time spent on historical accuracy, rather than actual fun gameplay. Not only did this disappoint backers, but future investors too. Some of those investors were members of the team, who put in large personal contributions themselves, all of which have now received significant financial losses. Backers are welcome to refunds too in this instance, but unless you saw this update, you would have never have known to ask for one. But that ship has now sailed, ending this whole mess with a nice little personal bit of reassurance at the very bottom that you are backing a demo and not a full game.
Don't worry, we're going to make a game.
Number 2. Life is full of those classic drama moments that you end up arguing over who you believe is right and who is wrong. And the game Necro is another one of those moments. The only difference being that this time, 4,300 backers who spent $158,733 of a $100,000 target were the ones that ended up with the scars to show for the breakup of the team. Necro is a randomly generated top-down action game made by Dark Forge. Looking at it, the game has some stunning artwork and character models. Plus the game itself really does look pretty damn good, and dare I say it, at least with the levels they show here in the campaign video, it's almost complete. Heck, I would have no hesitation backing this one, but thankfully I didn't know about it. So after the game was funded, it went on with continuous Twitch updates, most of the time weekly, as well as updates not only to the Kickstarter page, but also to the company's own Facebook and Twitter too. All was good. Then, as you may have expected, those updates started to fizzle out before eventually no one got updates any way, shape or form. So, what happened? They ran out of money. Are you starting to see a theme with these videos? But where did the money actually go? That's where it gets interesting. Like I said, after several months of silence, all communication to the backers stopped. That is until you looked into the Steam community review page of the game by one of the artists. Necro was originally supposed to be a 1 to 1.5 year development cycle after the Kickstarter campaign. While blame can be placed on a great many of things, we never actually had funding other than the Kickstarter and our personal finances, of which I spent every penny I had. So we decided to rush to early access to help fund the completion of the game. Once we got funding rolling in, I heard the same story year after year. Scott would say, "I can't do it, I need another year." This happened for 2 years. Bear in mind, Scott was taking 100% of all revenue, even though we have a contract that explicitly states he can only take 50%. His reasoning was that this is the only way we're going to finish the game. So I obliged him, to the project's detriment. The last 5 months of 2015, however, it became glaringly obvious what was happening. Scott was taking 100% of the revenue still, but he had stopped working on the game. He became too comfortable making money with no ambition to continue. I told him, "You cannot take funds from a game unless you're working on it." This sent Scott into an uproar, and he finally took the last funds and shut down the LLC bank account. To add insult to injury, I was forced to pay over $1,000 of my own money for the 2015 California tax license, as well as paying 50% of the taxes from the 2015 revenue, of which Scott took 100% for his own personal benefit, since Scott has blocked me from contacting him in any way. Wow, that's pretty harsh, but fair if it is true. Has his partner actually run away with the remaining money and taken it all for himself? How would we know? Because according to this, all of the artist's posts are getting deleted by that programmer. But as they say, there is no smoke without fire, because it turns out that this guy, the artist, was actually deleting the programmer's posts too. Thank God for that print screen button, am I right? In this potato quality screen grab, his ex-partner explains in far greater detail where that money went. Losing money from Kickstarter fees and people that didn't actually pay up lost the guys $35,000 to $45,000 straight away. And after that, he claims his partner actually spent $40,000 instantly in new equipment. He then hired his buddies to make models and to pay for all manner of software, leaving the duo with only $90,000 left. This guy, the programmer, went full time on the project, and this guy, the artist, went back to his job so that they could stretch out that money further. Long story short, the money ran out, and the programmer wanted to hold back the game until it was at a good state to show off. And the artist wanted to release it on Steam Early Access to try and get a salary going again to finish the game. Both of these guys, as far as I can tell, have never openly discussed this by replying to each other's comments. Either that, or they're just getting deleted. So, in this case, it's yet again another instance of developers falling out or running out of money and leaving those backers not only confused, but out of pocket too. Number 3. Unwritten, that which happened should probably have been called written, that which never happened. Actually, this is quite a sad one, that is probably never going to be seeing a release. But unlike a lot of the games on this list, we actually have closure into what is going on. However, this does not take away from the fact that this project has disappointed 2,212 backers who pledged $78,017 of a $75,000 goal. The game was made by Joe Houston, a well-respected game designer who worked on the classic game Dishonored. What we have here is a deep turn-based strategy where you make your way across a map before encountering certain stories as told by shadow puppets, which involves you, the player, having to make a decision on what to do which will change the end result and journey of the game. All in all, the game looks fully reputable, getting positive shout-outs from magazines such as PCGamer.com and online sites such as Rock Paper Shotgun and Kotaku. So what went wrong? After the game was founded on February 13th, updates were quite frequent. Very frequent in fact. Starting with a few updates every month, updates on the game's progress came in all the time, screenshots of the game in development, and the tools that they was using to make the game. Then, on October 29th, 2013, Joe posted a personal update titled Still at the Helm, explaining how his family are going through a few serious personal issues and therefore his attention was greatly taken away from the project. And because of this, the deadline for the beta release was not met and instead moved to simply to be determined. He felt the game needed to slow down its frantic pace and explained in a very professional manner what the future of the game would be, which was essentially, it's still happening, but the load on the developers is being lightened. Also explaining that hiring other people to lighten the workload was just not in the budget. Several months later, on January the 4th, 2013, the realisation of this game probably never seeing the light of day came to light in an update titled Reflections and Confessions for a New Year. In this post, Joe explains that the family issues have been testing on the whole family more than expected, and Joe has struggled to balance work on his indie game with looking after his family. He also explains that the money raised was for 3 people to work on the game for 6 months, and with this being 10 months later, the money has run out, resulting in Joe taking on contracting work to pay for his family's medical bills, leaving Unwritten, That Which Happened, as simply a side project. It's not cancelled, he's going to try his best to continue to deliver on that original promise. But in all honesty, to many, this is probably the end. 2 days later, the final update was released, explaining why he was not wanting to release the assets of the game to the public, due to it basically not being right for the rest of the team. That was back in January 2014. And now that we are close to 3 years later, nothing else has ever been said, and the project is likely never to be seen again. Number 4.
Hello everyone. So this is going to be the worst video I've ever had to make. But as you can probably see from the title, Ant Simulator is going to be cancelled.
Hold up a minute. This one shouldn't actually be on this list. But I'm putting it in there anyway, as it still does sort of have something to do with Kickstarter. Okay, so Ultimate Game Dev Tutorials was a Kickstarter that teached you how to make your first video game. It raised $4,459 from 149 backers of a $4,000 goal, and featured this guy.
Hello, my name's Eric Tereshinsky, but probably most people on the internet know me as Etiski.
Eric is a big believer in creating video games using free software and teaching you guys how to make them too. By backing this Kickstarter, Eric will show you how to create everything live and give you tutorials, either via PDF or video form, or even both. These will show you how to make the game so you can make games yourself. It's a big project, which is why he got help from 2 childhood friends, Devon Staley and Tyler Montz. These guys were brought in to help with the finances and other areas of the project. On the lead up to the final game, Eric would actually do these quite ingenious jam sessions, where you could actually watch him live quickly make a video game from scratch. One of these ideas was a game called Ant Simulator. Now, most of these games are a little throwaway, made for the sole purpose to gain a bit of interest in the project. But Ant Simulator was something else, and it was gaining attention. So much attention that Eric decided to split his time between the now funded tutorial series and actually turning that little Ant Simulator game into a fully fledged game. Now, Ant Simulator didn't actually go to Kickstarter, but instead it was funded by a friend of Eric's. For how much? Well, only those involved know. However, it is predicted it wasn't much more than a couple of thousand. Anyway, Ant Simulator was actually coming along nicely. Eric said the game had 10,000 hours work already done on it, and even claimed to be putting in his own money from his part-time job to help stretch out his funds that little bit further. So yeah, all is good. Season 1 of those tutorial videos from the Kickstarter campaign came out, backers were happy, and Eric started working on the next season of tutorial videos, as well as Ant Simulator at the same time. Which brings us back to where we left off. On January 30th, 2016, Eric uploaded to his personal YouTube channel the video that we spoke about at the beginning.
I can't work on Ant Simulator anymore. I recently found out that my ex-business partners were secretly stealing company money. They had secretly spent the overwhelming majority of both our Kickstarter money and the Ant Simulator investment money on liquor, restaurants, bars, and even strippers.
I think this video explains the situation a lot better than I could. If you want to see the full video, then click the link in the description. But is that it? Well, not really. As you can expect, there are two different sides to this story. Mont and Staley apparently invested a combined total of $5,000, and they claim that that was even more than what Eric put in the first place. And then obviously he had that smaller investor I spoke of earlier. They also completely denied the claim, saying that it was completely false. I don't know why he's painting that picture, but the reality is that anything that we spent in a bar or restaurant was very reasonable in nature when you look at any business, including video game companies. It was part of our operating budget, it's not anything that was excessive, it was all reported to the IRS, the picture he's painting about us is 100% bullshit. He took control of not only all the company's physical properties, our bank accounts, our social media accounts, our website, which he changed to just being our faces for some unknown reason. That was all him. This all started to take place right after the game started to get really popular late in the summer. My personal theory is that he wanted to take it all for himself and cut us out of it. We made it clear that we weren't going to let him do that because we had a moral and legal right not to. The two go on to explain that the game actually wasn't just made by Eric either, and instead had a group of about 10 people, all of which were paid in full by the duo. I think he wanted to create this outlandish story, grab headlines and make us look terrible. So far, it's working for him. Okay, so this is very much a case of whose side are you on? Did the duo spend it all on drinks and strippers, or did Eric want to take all the glory for himself? Thankfully, whatever happened in this instance, it has easily suffered the least amount of Kickstarter casualties. Number 5. So here we are, the final spot, the one that you've all wanted us to talk about since the last video. And you know what? Yog Ventures has way too much to talk about to fit into this tiny little slot. So I went ahead and made a complete video dedicated to that mess. If you want to see the final video in this little mini series and the whole reason we started it in the first place, then come back next week for the Yog Ventures scandal, the full story. Hey there guys, whether you're watching this on Larry Bundy Jr.'s channel or My Slopes Game Room channel, thanks very much for watching. Click the links on the screen or in the description to check out either of our channels and Patreon pages. But for now, that's it from me. This is DJ Slopes signing out, and hopefully I'll see you all next time.